Today on the podcast, we have registered nurse, personal trainer, YouTuber, and behavioral change specialist Matt Lane, creator of Matt Lane Fitness and MattLaneFitness.com. Matt is going to join us here and talk about his life, his creation, his new podcast, the Better Than Yesterday Everyday podcast. Check it out now. Hey, Matt, how are you doing?
So glad to be on, man. Thank you so much. And that podcast really got started thanks to you. Really appreciate you helping me build out my space. It was an undertaking.
Yeah, dude, I appreciate it. It's turning out really, really well. It sounds amazing right now. You guys are really cranking those out, and you've got a great little program jumpstart going that I did not do with mine, but okay. I think it's so smart that you're doing it.
It's been really fun. I was on a podcast, ran a podcast for about 8-9 months, and went different ways and started creating my own thing with a podcast. And I've been waiting to do it, but it's been fun. It's a medium that is, I think, underutilized by a lot of people, but it's just different. It's very fun.
So let's go back to the beginning. I always start there with everybody. It feels like, as I've gotten to know you, the creative and media side of stuff has been at a service to your passion of personal training and, behavioral change, making people healthier, helping them, get the tools to affect life change. Did you have a interest in that stuff prior to starting your fitness journey, or did that come afterward?
Yeah, so I was very like your first guest, Holden Hardman's a good friend of mine, actually. When I was about 9 years old, I believe, I'm terrible with the dates, I picked up my parents' video camera, the gigantic VHS that had to go on your shoulder, and shot family videos and stuff like that. And around the age of 13, 14, I started using, what was it? It was Windows Movie Maker, and just making little home movies. And it just progressed up until my late teen years. And then I sort of put it away. It was never really a business or anything. I went and became a nurse, so it went on the back burner, but I always missed it. And lo and behold, I came back around to doing that now, what I was doing as a kid.
That's fantastic. Yeah. And like I said, I've come over, I've seen your space, and you've really, you have dedicated spaces for things. You have an office, you have the podcast studio, and that to me speaks really strongly to the intensity and the seriousness and the mindful approach you're bringing to Matt Lane Fitness. Because I think a lot of people would undertake a fitness journey and become a personal trainer, but they would kind of stay to a more traditional route. You're kind of going this new media route where you're reaching everybody at every facet that you can. And I think that shows a lot of planning and a lot of desire to really connect with people.
Wow. I really appreciate you noticing that. Yeah. I started training people in person, and I just felt like I was sort of limited with the ability to spread this message that I have, that I feel that I've literally been given. There's this void that I feel that I'm supposed to fill, and I felt like I've been pulled to something, and it took a long time to realize that, even while being in the medical field. I became a nurse, and I thought that this was it. This was like, if I get to there as an ICU nurse, that was going to be it. But there was much more to be found, and social media, podcasting, videos, I've found was the ultimate way for me to, quote unquote, spread my message.
So yesterday I was speaking with Colt. We have the same barber.
Awesome barber.
Mutual friend of ours.
Love you, Colt.
Plug for Pensacola House of Barbers. Thanks, Colt. Yeah, he mentioned you guys wrestled together in high school. So Obviously you were always a fairly athletic kid, but when did the fitness journey for you? Because I know I've seen before and afters, and it looks like it was post high school that you really started your fitness journey.
Yeah, without a doubt. In high school, I was 135 pounds graduating high school. Colt was the captain of my wrestling team, and I wasn't a really physical person. I really didn't have that grit or pushing myself piece until after I graduated. I was 19. I'm terrible with my dates. It was either 2009 or 2011, I forget. But I was actually jumped in a parking lot. It was just a minor altercation. We didn't actually, exchange hands, but we circled in the street like we were about to fight. And I was literally almost run over by a car, and we exchanged words, and I was young and dumb. And he got out of the car, and he's about 300 pounds. He could have easily killed me. And I realized that my now wife was in the car, and I was like, had she been with me, I would have reacted so much differently, I know, and I could have been killed easily. Went into the Walmart and was like, hey, like I was almost assaulted, and you know, I want to press charges, and I want to tell the police, and blah blah blah. And they were like, yeah, you're gonna have to take that up with the Pensacola Police Department. And immediately I was just struck with this, like, well, that's not going to do anything. And now looking back and actually saying it, I guess I realized at that moment is when I started taking responsibility. The next day I got in the gym, and for the next 8 months, I went 5 days a week with a good friend of mine, Eric Bowles. Had it not been for him, I don't think I would have continued. But from there, it turned into, I just want to get bigger, be able to protect myself. And then it transformed my mind. I started to really find myself and want to progress. And it just morphed into so many things. And there's been such an evolution of my mind, more so than even my body, that's led me to be sitting in this chair today.
I appreciate you sharing that, man.
Yeah.
That was a scary situation.
Yeah.
Now, I know one of the things as you got started, I want to get into the podcast and some of these video ideas like you do. But before that, let's talk about at what point did you go from training yourself to wanting to train others? And how far after that did you migrate into wanting to do so in a digital space? Because I know you have the app, you have the podcast, you have the YouTube videos. So you've got a lot going on there. You even have the vlog. So how did that start?
I became a registered nurse, and the first place I started out was in ICU. I had worked there as a nurse's assistant for quite some time, and that was the ultimate dream that I had of sort of helping people. And I got into healthcare and realized that about 80% of the people that I saw, it was all self-induced problems. It was all problems that they had brought upon themselves. And, I'm not bashing the healthcare community, but I started really realizing I think I can do more as a personal trainer than I can as a nurse. I started wondering, am I helping or am I hurting these people that are coming into this ICU that are on ventilators and have tubes going down and breathing for them? And I really started to question what I was really impacting or doing. So from there, I became a personal trainer, and that built a lot of confidence that, I could become certified. And from there, it was just an education process of how can I teach these people? How can I help and spread this message or this void? And it's taken really up until about a year ago and to sort of solidify what this message is or what this void has been that I'm supposed to fill. So started training people in person and realized a lot of limiting factors for a lot of people is price, showing up at certain times. So scheduling was a nightmare. Where are they located? Where am I located to get together? And there was just so many limiting factors that I wondered, how am I going to have the ability to scale this and really be able to impact people? Now, I think that the in-person element of training people is, you can't duplicate that. If you've never been in a gym before, I think it's a very good thing to be with a personal trainer. But if you have some knowledge, then I think online is a big possibility of working with someone. A lot of what I do with client work is coaching, and it's really the behavior change that is the biggest factor. With all the technology I can deliver to you, a trainer can deliver to you, or you can find it for free on YouTube, how to do a squat, how to do a bench press or whatever. It's the coaching behind it that I think is what a personal trainer's biggest role is to do. Make sure you're doing the movements safely and all the progression and all those pieces, but accountability is what a big part of being a personal trainer is.
That's great. And so that's something you've been able to find through YouTube videos for advising and demonstrations, but then largely through your app that you've had developed. That's where you're able to keep that accountability strong, right? And keep track and give them more tailored to the individual, so they still feel like they're connecting with you as a person, and that it's just not some program they're buying, but it's something that, that they've been kept in mind for.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah, I think that's great. You're kind of splitting that difference.
Yeah.
Because I know there's a big popularity right now in exercise routines and diet fads, and it's just a one-size-fits-all.
Yeah.
And, I've had a number of health problems, and I've reached out to you and talked to you about that before, about, there's no program designed for someone
Right.
you know, with a lot of, you know, chronic illness that you can't, consistency is the hardest problem, knowing where to start. And, you know, and you kind of gave me some advice on that. And I think that's really cool. And, you know, it really drives home that personal touch, people being able to reach out and talk to another human. And it's not just a set of DVDs that's actually going to help you and keep you accountable.
Well, and knowing that, like, you know, just because you look at someone that's a personal trainer or on Instagram or whatever, like knowing that the trainer also struggles with consistency. Any trainer that's out there that says they don't struggle with consistency, I feel like they're probably lying to you. I have a problem with consistency, but it's just about showing up, you know? So, and I think that real piece of being able to know that the trainer struggles with it makes it more attainable then.
Now, progressing from there, let's talk about starting the YouTube channel, the reason you started it. You know, we have the app. And so you started and then you went to the app, you had the website, then it was largely YouTube, so I understand.
Yeah.
And then we can go from there to the podcast. But what was the reason you started YouTube?
So I started the actual YouTube channel, Matt Lane Fitness, in 2017, whenever I started the company. And at first it was just putting up, I put up a few motivational videos and you know, I finally learned how to put my logo at the bottom right-hand part of the screen. And I just thought it was so cool. But it wasn't until a little over a year ago that I started taking it more serious. The first year was about posting one video a week, just consistency. But I think the real reason behind it was I didn't want to be another fitness guy that was chasing clients or come pay me or come work out with me. I did that. I ran Facebook ads and I felt just dirty and slimy doing it. So I was like, well, what else can I do? Like, how do I attract people for the message that I'm trying to put off? Because attention is extremely valuable nowadays. It's more valuable than currency. It is a currency.
Yeah, it's a commodity to sell in its own right. Yes.
So I just started thinking, well, why not all these thoughts that you're having in your head, why not put them out and put them out for free? Give value, and then one day you may get value. So every week I was going to put out a video, and the idea was, what is the listener, viewer going to gain from it? And I felt like if I had that as the end goal, it didn't matter how slowly I grew or how many subscribers I had. If one person was willing to listen or watch, then it was worth it. It was a success. I think it's very easy to get caught up in the vanity metrics, like the subscriber and count and all that. And I've gone down that road. I'm not going to lie. But at the end of the day, it really only matters if I'm delivering value.
I think you do a great job there. Yeah. And I, you know, to that effect, one of my favorite series that you've been doing recently, I watched one this morning, was the advice from a personal trainer.
Yeah. So a personal trainer answers questions. That was actually Holden's idea.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I think it's fantastic. And you pull questions offline and answer them. And, you know, you give very thoughtful, you know, honest opinions and answers to real questions. And I really have enjoyed watching that series.
Awesome. Yeah. The cool thing about that is, like, I'm waiting for a question that I don't know, because I don't know it all, but I haven't run across one yet. It's only the third video, so I'm waiting for that video.
Well, the other thing I like watching is you've been doing vlogs in the mornings. Yeah. And my favorite part of the vlogs is actually Jenna. So Jenna is Matt's wife, and I love her because, Matt, you are a fitness fanatic. You love this. It's health. Jenna is me. Like me if I actually went to the gym. She's committed to it. She's doing it.
Yeah.
But you're like, there's a conversation you had recently on one of the vlogs where you guys had to get up at 5:30 to go to the gym.
Yeah.
And you were talking about, you know, being, you know, it's harder to get up, so it's worth it. It shows more dedication.
Right.
And she was arguing that it could be 6:30.
Yeah.
It could be 7:30.
Yep.
Maybe we can make it 8. You know, normal people thoughts.
Of course.
So she's the voice of the masses, I think.
She is my absolute balance. Yeah. She's been incredible for me, because this journey that I've taken to sort of build a business is really lopsided. When you put every bit of passion into it, you can get really lopsided, and it can be the exact opposite for your health. So she's been my beautiful balance.
It's awesome that you have a partner like that who's helping you out.
And it's cool because on the vlogs, on our videos, it shows such a different perspective of a fit guy, you know, quote unquote gym douchebag, and then you have a female that's not as into it and she can make it work. I mean, she's had her own fitness journey and lost 40, 45 pounds. And, she's done that through 5 days a week at the house, body weight and 20-minute workouts. Right. So you don't have to go to the gym to get it done. And she brings such a great balance.
You bring the seriousness, the dedication, the study
right.
of the art. And then she kind of takes out your legs.
Absolutely, yeah. She's not impressed with, which I love. That's great. Yeah. Keeps me honest.
Let's talk about the podcast, the Better Than Yesterday Everyday Podcast. It's a great name. It's your tagline. I still get used to it. I like to fumble that up a lot. But I think you're doing great, man. You guys are how many episodes in? You just launched, but you are...
I think we've released 10. We have a total of 15. So yeah, we're backlogging.
Yeah. You guys are doing such a good... Like you said, you have a background in podcasting, so you kind of know some methodologies that are really helping you out. And like I said, it sounds great. I know you have a video podcast element to it too, which I think is awesome. You know, I've been a fan of you making those choices. But talk to people a little bit about what the podcast is, where they can find it, and kind of where you hope it goes.
The one thing with YouTube for me is that I'm really good at overcomplicating things, and I'm actively working on that. Podcasting is so awesome because it's very difficult to hide who you are, how you really think, because when you get caught up in a conversation, you are truly going to come through. I know, and I knew that walking into it, so I wanted this to be a very easy medium for us to create and crank out, rather than a video you shoot, you edit, you color correct, you do all that, and it takes a minute to get it out. So the setup that you helped me with was, I want to come in here, just like we're doing now, sit down with Jenna, the guests, and have a conversation. Just let it go where it's going to go. And through that, you can see the habits that I have, the habits that Jenna has, how we differ, what our opinions are, the guests, their experiences. It just shows so much vulnerability and then makes it relatable. I've listened to podcasts, and that's been my motivation. Any podcast I've ever listened to that has that vulnerable piece that isn't too scripted, it's relatable. And so that was the whole goal with the podcast. I feel like any content that I put out it's a spider web leading back to Matt Lane Fitness, or what Matt Lane Fitness is about. So really the goal with the podcast is passive content for you to be able to listen to when you're running or driving or whatever, that hopefully you just gain some value in the 30 to 45 minutes we're on the mics.
Are you trying to stay with current topical things, or are you searching for evergreen content?
I say evergreen, which is... It's not sexy when it comes to marketing. It's not sexy when it comes to, income and all that. But I would much rather build this legacy, or what you would want to call it, based off of things that will stand the test of time.
Yeah, some value that has some permanence. Then instead of something that's clickbaity for a weekend. Yeah, I think that's great, man. And the way you've got all this going, you're, and then you have the Instagram accounts. You're putting yourself out there in a lot of ways. Have you noticed, especially when it comes to social media, the way that people are projecting fitness? I mean, I know a lot of people that, now that I'm in my 30s, a lot of the girls I know are between their 20s to 40s, have hit fitness journeys. Some of the guys have renewed fitness journeys. And so there's a lot of interest in health out there. But a lot of the advertisements or the big profiles you see on Instagram and Facebook, it's a specific type of look in fitness. What's your opinion on the way fitness is being projected?
I think when people think of quote unquote fitness, I think it's nowhere even close to wellness. I almost did my first competition. I was 2 hours from stage time of doing like a physique competition, and I could not stand the process. It wasn't necessarily dieting down and putting myself in a caloric deficit and getting lean and all that. That's fine. It was the mental aspect of, I'm literally comparing myself to another human being with incredibly different backgrounds. And that alone told me that realm of fitness was just not for me. I'm not saying it's a bad thing for everyone, but for me, it was just not my realm, which is why I focus so much on behavior change and going at, is this going to be sustainable for the rest of your life? It's very easy to market something that's sexy. It's very easy to market something that's six-pack abs. it's very difficult to talk about consistency on a long term. That's why I say it over and over and over on my content. So the current state, I think it's very toxic.
One of the definitions I've heard that I've always liked is that intentionality over time equals excellence.
I love that. I've never heard that.
Yeah. So if you want to be excellent at something, you have to be intentional about what you're choosing to do, and you have to do it every time.
That's
every
true.
day. You have to stay consistent with it. Consistent intentionality breeds excellence.
Consistency, I've learned, that is the utmost importance in anything that you're trying to succeed at. I mean, if it's business or fitness or a relationship or whatever, if you just keep showing up, you can only fail so many times. You're going to fail your way to success.
Just failure is seen as an end product instead of part of the process.
Yeah.
And as an adult, we both have our own companies. We both worked for other people. We both have done different careers, and I'm sure have had various hobby interests and such. And it's like everything. You're bad at everything. You fail at everything until you're not failing anymore.
Well, not to get too deep, but I feel like it's a cultural piece that goes into many different areas other than fitness, wellness. And that's what's so relatable for me, is that fitness, wellness is so closely translated to life that, when you go to the gym or when you are training, there's nobody that's forcing you to be there. Mm-hmm. You are the person that's there doing the work. And if you keep showing up, there will be success that comes from that. If you hate the gym, don't go to the gym to start. My wife she did everything at home for a little over a year, and she just now started going with me. And it took a little over a year for her to build confidence to be in the gym. It took a lot of patience and priming and failure on her part to be able to get to the point to say, okay, yeah, I want to go to the gym now. And her confidence level has skyrocketed because she's gone through the failures. So I would tell you, if you're intimidated by the gym, which it's a very real thing, gym-timidation, then don't start there. Start in a room by yourself. Self-educate yourself, and then progress to the gym if that's what you want to do. Just like you said with your martial arts, you loved it. You had a passion for it. That's why you enjoyed showing up. So if you don't love it, and let's say that you did go to the gym eventually and you're like, this place sucks. Like this is not my place. This is not my crowd. There's so many different options. So don't do something that you don't like. You're not going to stick to it long term. I promise you.
So getting out of the pain of the gym,
Yeah.
let's talk about more of the creative, fun side. What is the process for you making a video or setting up for the podcast? And then I know you've done the vlog, which are going to be very different from your training videos.
Yeah.
And then, for those who have watched episode 1 with Holden Hardman, you're in quite a few of his videos, from the flamethrower to, I know you've had to do almost a full body paint for a sketch. So you've done a lot of stuff there. Those are going to be a little different. What are those processes like? What do you enjoy the most?
I like to think that I'm a creative person. I just love being able to create point blank. I found Holden on YouTube. I realized that he was here in town, and I hunted him down, and I just wanted to be involved with whatever he was doing. He's just a very fun spirit to be around. Any video that he's ever had a need for me, I'll play whatever role he wants. Actually, he didn't even require me to do the body paint. I just went and bought the paint myself and painted myself. I figured it would make the scene better. For me, there's a piece with the vlog specifically of creative ability to show vulnerability. How we were talking earlier about consistency and how it's tough. On the vlog, I say that. It's 5:30 in the morning. Really don't want to be here. I want to walk the walk that I talk. And at the end of the day, I always approach a video or a podcast with, is it bringing value? If I listen to it, what would I learn if I'd never heard this person before? I always think, this person doesn't know me. They don't give a crap about who I am. They're here to learn something. So teach what you've learned that you know has helped you.
That's very cool. And so when you set up, I know you have your office, which has a little studio section for videos. When you're creating your training videos, those are probably pretty straightforward, right? Throw up a couple of lights, do the movement, give some information, instruction, right?
Yeah, so inside the app that I have, it's a white label app. It's called Trainerize. Personal trainer can go to it and brand themselves and deliver products and services. And within there, you can upload your own videos that you've shot or use their videos. I'm really big into branding. I like branding myself. It's actually very creative and fun for me. So making all those videos is really fun, but there's definitely a sterile piece to it. You're not putting music behind it, and it's not quirky. You just need to educate. So yeah, that piece of those training videos is very sterile. It's it can be in front of a green screen or just educate what the movement is, and that's it. The vlog or videos with Holden or anything else, that's where I feel like vulnerability and where you can show what Matt Lane Fitness is or this idea is behind it.
I think that's great. And you've extended that into the podcast.
Yeah.
Which has the video element. But that's like you said, it's a very conversational place that you've established and that you have Chin on with, and you have Holden, and you're going to have other guests?
Yeah, but let's see. We've had Andy, we had a guy named Josh on, we had a guy named Andrew. Colt's actually going to be on there. Holden was on. There's many, many guests lined up.
And we've mentioned Colt, our barber, before, but the reason he would be on the podcast is Colt's also a bit of a fitness specimen himself. My barber can whoop your barber.
Yeah, and he's a very driven person. He's extremely business oriented, and just that whole thing about the 5 people you surround yourself with is who you will be. He's one of those people.
Yeah, he's fantastic. And I mean, talk about success. He's an incredibly talented barber, but within 2 years after school, graduated, I started seeing him. A lot of people started going to him. He was ranked best barber in the city.
2017, 2018.
Yep.
I think he's voted for 19 as well.
Yeah, and he also went from just a couple of chairs in that building to buying the entire building and business, rebranding it.
Yep.
And then his shop last year won as best barber shop.
And then the runner up was his barber.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, he's doing a lot of good things.
Yeah. It's fantastic and working. So like you said, great person to have on the show. I'll probably try and have him on this podcast too.
You need to get him on here without a doubt.
Yeah. Colt, I'm coming for you, buddy. So that's great. You're gonna have a lot of guests. Are you aiming toward a certain type of person, like people who are well into a fitness journey, people who are wanting to start one, or is it just kind of you want to play the field? You want to bring in people that can offer advice? What is it you're wanting on the podcast?
What's interesting about business or fitness is that they say you need to niche down, especially YouTube. You hear that all the time. The podcast, I want the underlying theme to always be implementing behavior change for your long-term wellness and happiness. So while that is very specific, there's a wide variety of people on. The guy that I had on yesterday, Josh Kirsch, he's a very, very serious lifter, very aggressive lifter, tells you how it is. And then I've had, Holden, who's not into fitness that much at all, but all of it around happiness and wellness. I feel like there's so many different pieces that play into happiness and wellness. I think finance. So I had Andrew Martin. He's actually my financial advisor. I think that finance goes into wellness. So it's sort of all over the place, but with the concept of behavior change being the underlying thing.
Yeah. One of the things you brought up was branding. And you do a lot of branding, and you have a lot of creative stuff. So I've seen bags. I've seen, if you check out his shoulder here, Matt Lane Fitness, he has T-shirts. I've seen water bottles. I've seen phone cases.
Yeah.
So you've done a lot of design and branding and creative putting out there, not just with the video and the podcast and all that. And so that's a lot of stuff you've done yourself.
Yeah. So just like any starting business, I don't have a lot of expendable money to put into this. I mean, it's all, every year Matt Lane Fitness is losing money, but I don't look at it that way. I look at it as I'm building something. Another piece was I've always wanted to have some sort of apparel line or something that I can constantly see. For me, constantly seeing my ideas or disciplines is extremely important. I'll put sticky notes on my bathroom. I have reminders in my phone. I have a reminder on my phone at 9:00 at night to tell me to go to bed. So constantly seeing things for me is a big deal. And clothing was always something that I was like, that would be such an easy thing to do if I could just figure out how to do it. So I did what most trainers have done. You order X amount of mediums and smalls of shirts in this many colors, and it adds up really quickly, the price. And then how do you fulfill that? Let's say you have people that actually want to buy it, then you have to figure out how to ship it to them. And it's a really difficult onboarding process and figuring out how to do it. So rather than going that route, I found print on demand, which is, there's many websites out there that, basically you upload the designs, they provide the the apparel, and then they send it to the person that's buying it. And I've just found it to be awesome because I look at it as a beautiful marketing ability. It gives me the option for people to support me. Maybe it's just a slogan that somebody liked and they don't give a crap about Mount Lean Fitness. I had one person tell me that the shirts are so comfortable, they could care less about my logo. They just love the comfort of the shirt, which is fine with me. So it's just been another avenue for me to be creative. And then also it's another form of income.
Mm-hmm. You had the logo debate for the podcast that you put
That was
a few
cool.
out. And
Yeah,
you
that
were
was
able
cool.
to have people put their 2 cents in. Is it the one you were wanting? Is that the one that won?
So I had originally made like 6 logos.
Yeah.
I hired some of them out. I made 1 or 2 of them, and then I had to narrow it down. That was that overthinking process. I narrowed it down to 2, and Jenna and I couldn't even decide on either one. There was pros and cons for each one, but majority chose the second one, which is the logo that you see on the podcast.
Is that the one that you personally were leaning toward?
Number
or-
1 and number 2 were up there, and I found pros and cons in both, and I just couldn't decide.
Yeah. So you were okay.
I was
You were just
split
happy.
I was split down the
that
middle.
one was chosen.
I was to the point where I want it to be in the audience's hands, not mine. I'm fine with whatever.
It's good.
Yeah.
Gives them some responsibility.
Absolutely.
If you don't like to look at that logo all the time, it's your fault.
Exactly.
All about that. So that's great, man. So we're kind of hitting the part of the podcast where we wind down and I ask everybody if there's one piece of advice that you could have given yourself or you wish someone had taught you before you started your fitness journey or your creative journey to support it.
Figuring out why you really want to do it. I think a lot of people look at that stereotypical fitness piece and how do I get abs, and just trying to figure out that process rather than why do you want abs? What's the real point behind it? Is it that you're lacking confidence in being shirtless, or you're afraid to go to the beach without being clothed? What is it? Really dig deeper than that. And then that's going to help you dictate, I don't like working out at the gym. I like being at home, or I like martial arts. So before you get started in what's the best nutrition program or keto this, or I need this gym membership, why are you doing it? And it can be very simple as I just want to be healthier for my kids, or I want functional abilities. Every day I don't want my back to hurt anymore. It's really beautiful when you get to a state of wellness that you don't realize right now. So figuring out why do you want to do it?
That's fantastic advice. Thank you for joining us.
I've really enjoyed it. Thank you. This studio is beautiful. So I've watched the podcast and I've consumed it and loved it, and I'm really excited to finally see it. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Well, we'll have a tour video that's probably coming out before this podcast.
Nice.
And everyone will see kind of what we're seeing on this side of things. Because, in the podcast, you see basically from behind you to behind me in this little section wall. And it's very different.
Yeah.
Behind the cameras.
Looks really cool over here, though, too. Well, I know you don't think that you have, but you've put a lot of work into this.
Yeah, it's always an evolution. And I know there's probably something mentally wrong with me, but this quality level, this look, this is the bare minimum for me. This was just getting it to the minimum so I could start.
Really?
This was my just starting phase.
Okay.
But before, if it was less than this, we're at a position where I would nitpick it to the point I couldn't enjoy it.
Yep.
So
I get it.
So as long as people aren't complaining, as long as people are enjoying watching it, but they're not distracted
There you go.
by something,
Yep.
that's the point. Like people are coming to this podcast hopefully for Matt Lane and Matt Lane Fitness and to hear what you have to say, like you said, to give that value.
Right.
And I just want this to be a place where I can sit down with people, have some honest conversations, and hopefully they have value for people.
Well, that's what you've done well. And that's like whenever we met, I noticed like the level of professionalism that you have. That's what you've created. And I feel like everything that you've created and that you've shown me, you take away the distractions. And I think that's the art behind being a professional. It's not having the beautiful equipment and all those expensive pieces, which are, the best tools to do it, sure. But can you get the content while keeping the distractions out?
Right. And that was one of the things I wanted to show you with your podcast setup is, we want it to look nice because one, if you're going to be on video, there's an aesthetic feature to it. But there's also a mental, like a lot of times you come into a space, if it looks nice, people enjoy being there. So they relax and they want to be there. They want to do more. You're going to want to work in that environment. And you already had wonderful equipment. So there was no equipment recommendations.
Right.
But when you record audio specifically, the very first thing, more important than processing, more important than the microphone, is the space.
Sure.
And so all we did was come in, we, talked about building some sound panels and put them on the wall, treated the acoustic reflections you were having because it was kind of a cube of a space.
Yeah.
So you're having some standing wave issues, and it just kind of broke that up a bit, tightened the reverberation of the room. And then you add in that great equipment and processing you already had. You've got an amazing sounding podcast.
It sounds so much different in that room. Just from the panels that we built on your instruction, it just sounds great.
Yeah. The panels are just something that quick Google search will show you how to make them. I mean, I'm not the one who created them.
Right.
They've been doing this for a long time. They're just not difficult.
Yeah.
And they're very expensive to buy. So I'm like, just anyone can make them.
Yeah, I did look up the actual price of what you were telling me because they were much, much more expensive than what we built them for.
Yeah.
And we got a video out of it, actually.
You probably built, how many did you build?
6.
6. You probably could have bought one for the price of building 6.
It's preposterous.
Yeah. So doing it yourself is the way to go, man. And so where can people find you? Like, where can they get the information on the podcast, the vlogs, the YouTube videos, the app? Where's your home?
MattLaneFitness.com has a lot of the information there. Anywhere on social media, it's Matt Lane Fitness. So Instagram, Facebook, MattLaneFitness.com. The Better Than Yesterday Everyday podcast is on everywhere: iTunes, Google Play Music, Spotify, SoundCloud, Stitcher Radio, Castbox. There's a bunch of them. The YouTube channel, Matt Lane Fitness. Those are the big areas, and they sort of spider out to one another, like within the descriptions.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, awesome, man. Thank you for coming on the show.
I really appreciate it. It's been fun.